This video is going to introduce you to a new capability I've installed in HLS, and it references audio waveform envelope processing. What that means is processing the outer edge of your audio. So I'm actually showing you audio here, but if you looked up in the audio area of HLS, an envelope would be something that would track exactly this on the outside. Now, I'm not going to track it individually. I'm going to track it per time tick, since that's where we're going to make our decision. So this happens to be, what's my favorite music? I forget what it is. Here, listen to it. What is it? Ah, music box dancer. That's what it is. Had to hear it. And just to show you, if we come down here, this is where you really start getting some beats coming in. Right in here is where you start getting some beats. I'm going to use waveform envelope processing to show you how to create a beat track. But at the same time, you could use the same capabilities to generate a channel that would move a servo for an animation display, maybe the mouth of a skull or something else. Okay, audio, especially from CD, we're running audio here that's sampled at 44,000 samples per second. They've got a lot of frequency information in here, and sometimes it's difficult for people to figure out where the beat is. So just to show you some things, the waveform processing, the envelope processing, is applied to whatever waveform is displayed. So this is raw audio. I could also, as I'm going to show you here shortly, run this through a bandpass filter and will dramatically show you the results. But in order to do a waveform, or excuse me, the envelope processing, the first thing we need to do is create an envelope. So we come over to audio, and it says create an envelope of displayed audio. When I click on that, HLS goes out. Now I'm hoping you can see this. What you see here is the audio in the background, and then you see a red overlay. Now, audio, to explain, let's click the audio off here for a minute. No, we don't want to save it. The audio right in the middle, here's the audio window. Here's the top layer, or the top portion of the window, and the bottom portion of the window. Right through the middle is the zero line. And audio is displayed positive from the zero line and negative from the zero line. So you're getting both positive and negative swings across zero. The envelope follower is tracking the positive side only of the left channel, because we're using stereo, so I process the left channel, and it's only processing the envelope of the left channel, and it's the positive envelope. In order to get maximum resolution, what I do is the bottom of the window is 0. The top of the window is normalized at 100. So no matter what your audio in here is, the normalized envelope will always be between 0 and 100. So let's go ahead and bring it back. So even though you see it around here at 0, it really doesn't mean that. If we look down here, here we go. What it says is here is 0 down at this end, here's 100, and it's somewhere in between because it's looking at the top portion, normalized audio. Now, if I want to know what that is, I need to click in this window. Windows does everything based on focus, and my grid had focus. Now, the window that has my audio has focus. Once that has focus, I can hold the shift key down, and if I move the mouse in that time tick, that says I'm measuring time tick 27, and the envelope is 54 units out of 100 high. If I come over here, hold the shift key down, it says it's 18 units high. We'll just page this way. I had to click in the grid to get focus in the grid. And if, there we go. Here, if you notice, we're getting pretty doggone close. So I click up here to give it focus, hold the shift key down, and that's 93 units high. So that level of audio right there on a normalized curve, that envelope up there, is at 93. Now, just to let you know, what I do is I look at all of the samples within the time tick to figure out what the audio envelope should be at that time tick. And I'm just representing it as a straight line. I represented it as a point and drawing it, but it kind of suggested that there was some higher degree of resolution. So I'm showing you a step function because at each time tick you have exactly one envelope level. Now, if you wanted to throw this through animation or something like that, there's information there and that may be appropriate to you. But let me now show you how to apply the power of DSP to this. First of all, there's a lot of people that don't know about filters, and if you haven't used the DSP, which is digital signal processing within HLS, you're missing out on a very powerful audio tool. Let me just jump down here to Wikipedia, and I brought up bandpass filter. Bandpass filter is a filter who has a center frequency, in this case F0, and it has a lower and an upper frequency. Those are, if you want to be technical, those are measured at the 3 dB roll-off point. This is called a roll-off, or is typically referred to as the skirt of the filter. The band pass is measured from from the low end as it passes 3 dB to the high end as it passes 3 dB. The purpose of a band pass is to pass frequencies inside of the band pass and to reject or attenuate frequencies outside. So, how can we use that in HLS? Oh, wrong one. Wrong one there too. There we go. Well, let's come on up here and let's bring up a bandpass. I'm going to click bandpass. I've centered this. If you notice, I've already played with this. I'm going to set a bandpass whose center frequency is at 50 hertz. Typically drums, or what you're looking for a beat, is a fairly low frequency. So I'm picking 50 hertz. Now, order. If a band filters in general, if we went back, I told you, if you looked at the slope of the skirt, is 3 dB per octave. That is that would be an order of 1. A order of 2 would be 6 dB per octave, etc. The highest octave, or the highest order I allow you in these DSP filters is 10. So you're looking at 30 dB per octave, which is a very, very tight, high roll-off bandpass filter. The max I can give you gain is 4, because you can overpower this DSP fairly easy, and a bandpass of 50. So what I'm asking HLS to do is process this audio, allow frequencies between 25 and 75. That's a bandwidth of 50, centered at 50, to pass and to show on my audio screen. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to process. It takes a minute. There we go. Now you can see here is my audio. And if you notice, these beats are very, very relevant, or evident now, I should say. And as you can see, our old envelope processing is in the background. Let's change that again. Let's go back and create another envelope based on this audio. Now we have a much different looking envelope. And we can see here This is all 0. It doesn't happen until we start getting in. Now, what I would usually recommend is you come in here and let's just take a look at what we have here. Remember, click up here to get focus, hold the shift key down, and we're at an envelope of 73. So here is an envelope there of 44. So right around 50 is mid-scale, which is what I told you because the audio is going right around mid-scale. So let us now go ahead, now that we have an envelope here, let's create a channel whose effects track the envelope. We come up to Audio Profile again, and what I want to do is I want to do a new envelope profile. This gives me, I give you 50 profile slots. So you can take this waveform or this envelope and you can chop it up into 50 increments, assigning an output intensity and a color to any of the 50. Let us say that anything from 0 to, let's say 35, we're going to keep at 0. We don't want to have any effects or in our channel whatsoever. We're going to then go from 36, and we're going to go to, well, I'll just show you. We'll go to 100. And we're going to have that as a value of 100. Very simple. Let me save that. It's going to ask me when I'm going to save it. And I'm just going to save it as test envelope profile. That's just me. Now I need to select a channel. I have 5 channels here, which are just standard single channels, and then I have 5 here that are RGB. I'm just going to show you on a single channel right now. So I'm just going to pick the channel, and I'm going to pick test 2.1. It shows up here, and now I'm going to hit OK. It's going to say I'm going to remove all the effects. Remember, when you run this, I'm going to delete every effect that's currently there and replace it. So make sure you understand that before you run this thing. And I say yes. Now, what I've done is HLS has now gone out and it has created an effect for every place the envelope is greater than 35. It has created an effect. Effectively, I have auto-generated a beat track. Okay? So let's go back and look at this just a little bit differently now. We can go back and let's do another profile. This time I want to go between 0 and 35, just as we did before. We'll keep that at 0. I want to go between 36 and 55. And I want to call that 50. I'll go between 55 and 75. And I'll call that 75. And then I'll go between 76 and 100. And I'll call that 100. Now I did something purposely here. If you notice, I did 55 and 55 just to show you. What HLS does when it's trying to figure out what the bend is, it starts at the highest. So it'll start down here and start moving backwards. And as it does that, the very first slot that it finds, it satisfies, it'll pick that slot. So if in fact 55 was found in this envelope, it would assign it to this row of display information as opposed to this one, because this will be the first one that it'll find. Let us select a different channel. Let us select channel 2. Let us save this profile, and we'll just do test 2 profile. And let's go ahead and process it. Now if you notice, I've got somewhat of a ramp function, or not a ramp function. I have different intensities for different levels. Let's apply it to an RGB. Same thing. Now here, remember we saved the profile? I want to open up the other profile. We saved that as a test 2 profile. Let's add some color. If you notice, HLS flipped it around. So the bottom's on the bottom and the top's on the top. Let us make this one. Oh, we don't want that. Oh, let's pick, where's my color here? Let's pick yellow. I want that to be yellow. Then I want this to be green. And I want this one to be red. And my channel now I want to include RGB channels. And I'm going to come down here. Yep, went too far. Right there. There's an RGB channel. I'm going to save my profile again. And I'm going to hit OK. Yes, I understand that. And there we go. So now I've placed the auto effect generation from my envelope waveform on an RGB channel, but I also applied colors. Now if you notice, this yellow is kind of like a pukey green. And I'll show you why. Because if you recall, let's open up that profile again. That was the test 2 profile. When we went colors, see the intensity values? They're at 75 and 50. Since what we're really looking for, what I'm looking for this demonstration purpose, you may be interested in intensity level. I want to look at the color. So what I want to do here is I'm going to make that 100, and I'm going to make this 100. Because on the RGB, what I'm looking for in this case, let me save that again. Now, you have to pick it again, since there's no channel. And I'm going to apply this to a different channel now. I'm going to apply this to test channel 2. Yes, I know. Now, I got the same match, but if you notice, my yellows are yellow because they're no longer at 50. Yellow at 50% looks like this. Yellow at 100% looks like this. So, hopefully, what I've been able to do is show you that, well, let's go back here. Here is what you have for envelope processing. This allows you to create an envelope of what is shown in the audio. This allows you to save it under a name. So I could save, this is my, let's save this one. I'm going to save this as, envelope. We'll just say 50 hertz. Okay? Now, once this red envelope is saved, I can bring this up anytime. I don't have to have, if you notice here, I can remove my audio. Now I'm back to pure audio, but I still have my envelope waveform at 50 hertz if I wanted to use it in this fashion. So you can create an envelope of any of the audio. You can save it. You can select it and redisplay it. If I wanted to know what the name of that envelope was, if I had multiple envelopes, I can click on this and it'll just tell me, here's the envelope I'm processing right now. I can either turn off the envelope or I can turn it back on. I can create a new profile or I can open an existing profile. So that is what HLS has with audio envelope processing. That, in conjunction with DSP, gives you a very powerful tool. You can create your own color organ by creating envelopes at various bandpass frequencies. You can, if you're doing animation, you can find a bandpass that will extract, let's say, the voice from a particular music. And based on the amplitude of that voice, you could drive a servo that's driving the mouth position of a skull or something of that nature. So that should wrap up audio envelope processing with HLS. I hope you enjoy.